I want to talk about a lot of things first, about bachi, about the Odaiko and the height of the Odaiko, the size of the Odaiko, your stance, your grip. So if you could come here. So when I play the Odaiko can be very different heights. When I play with Skeroku Daiko, the Odaiko is maybe about this high. Because we do, Nidan Uchi, Yodan Uchi. We have a naname drum here and dons, don, don, dons, don. We use hitting two at the same time, moving around. Dons, don, don, dons, don, don. So that for that style, this height Odaiko is good. For playing straight on, sometimes it's called Ogamiguchi. Having the drum about this high is good. And if you ever have the luxury of building a stand, then you want, if you take your height, that becomes the center of the Odaiko.
Oh.
So this is, for me, this is maybe just about right. Maybe slightly, maybe this much high, but of course you can do it slightly lower and do it higher. And in your group you have tall people, you have short people, so you have to compromise. So for me, luckily, I am kind of a median height. So there's as many people taller than me and many people shorter than me. Anyway, so I'm 5'6". I make the height 5'6". And then from there, I'll talk about the stance. Some people, my philosophy about stance, for example, if I'm playing a shime daiko, of course I wouldn't use this type of bachi, but I'm talking about your foot position. So I like to play the shime daiko like this. So if you look at my foot position, this corner and this corner, it forms a rectangle in which this side is longer than this side. This is about this much, and this is about, so it's a rectangle, but the length longer here, shorter here. So that's shime daiko. For beta uchi no, for example, this kind of drum. That's fine. So now come to this side. So now I like to have the arms extended. Now this rectangle has become a perfect square. This distance and this distance is the same, perfect square. So not this way or this way, but like this. Okay. Now the reason I'm saying that is when I play Odaiko, that becomes a rectangle this way, in which this length is longer than this length. Okay, so now it's not a square, it's lengthened. So some Odaiko players play like this, some play like this. So it's many different styles. So if you choose to use some of what I do, that's fine. If you choose not to, that's also fine. But I like to play with the left foot here, right foot back here. So this length is longer than this width, okay? And then the center has to be low and the back has to be straight, if not slightly arched back. So this is the stance I use. And then some people bring their sticks up. I like to bring the stick back. So it's as further back as you can go. And then of course when you stop the stick, it should be about 2 to 3 fingers away. This is where your hand stops. So whether you're playing really small, it's not gonna get a good sound. And you have to think about the sound not just hitting the skin, but going through this other side and about 2 miles away. Okay? That's where the sound is going. Okay? So the sound is not coming here, it's going this way. Some people think the sound should be coming this way. So there's many ways people think about it. There's no right and wrong way, but I have ways I've thought about. Grip. You can come closer. 2 grips I use. Okay. The basic grip is a fist grip. I actually use sticks thicker than this, maybe about the same length, but a little thicker, especially for a drum this size. This is about the size of mine now. We say, do you guys know what shaku is? A shaku is a length about a foot long, and each shaku is broken down to 10 parts called sun. So 1.5 is 1 shaku and 5 sun. So maybe, I don't see that's like maybe a 1.3. This would be considered maybe a 1.6, 1.7 or 1.8. I would call this a 2.5. Nishaku gosun. So my Odaiko in the car is about this size. So depending on the size of the drum, the stick will change. So you don't want to use a big stick like that, and you don't want to use a small stick. For me, this size stick is okay for something like this or like this. For this, I use a thicker stick.
Heavier? Is it heavier?
It's heavier, and I use hinoki, which is Japanese cypress, but I use heavy hinoki. And also I use kashi sometimes. If I have to use the fuchi, kashi is oak, so the harder wood is good if you're going to use the fuchi, the real. Otherwise, the hinoki gets better sound. And let me talk about grip. You can come closer. So the 2 grips I use is fist grip, and in the fist grip your hand is like this, and you have if this stick is this long, you have about 1.5 inches sticking out at the bottom. Okay, so this, don't hold the stick here, and don't hold the stick here, that's too short. It's right about here, okay? Now, all 5 fingers should be touching the stick at all the same time. Don't let your finger off like this or your finger off like this. All 5 fingers touching the stick at all times. Okay? Now, slightly squeeze the little these 2 fingers, but the hand looks the same. Okay? So when I put the fulcrum point down here, that's for a really big hit. Loud hit, or maybe playing slowly. And then when I put it in the middle 2 fingers, that's more of a medium. But the hand still looks the same. So you squeeze the middle 2 fingers. And then finally, the 3rd position is squeezing the index finger and thumb slightly tighter, and the others. So the fulcrum point is moving up the stick. So the more articulation or faster you want to play, then the fulcrum point moves up. Finally, the 2nd grip is a shime-daiku grip. It comes from playing the shime, but I also use it on this. And be careful in the shime grip, don't let your little finger off, so the fulcrum point becomes between the index finger and thumb. So this is for the most fast playing, but you can't, it's hard to get a lot of volume with this. So you're changing your grip depending on how much you're playing. And then initially you have to think about, I have to hold this way and this way, but right now your hands will later just naturally change to that. So does anybody have any questions so far? Yes.
And your stance, it seems like you played solo and you played just below the center. are you able to reach the Fuji from
Yeah,
down
I do want to try to get the center, and I play
All
here.
right.
I don't play here, I play here.
there? I see.